for the month of June, embracing self-care. And our topic for today is balancing grief and joy. And I've added the tagline, joy comes from the heart. Grief is an unavoidable emotion that we all go through at some point in our life. Everyone experiences grief, however, not everyone knows what to do with it. Joy comes through our spiritual practices that help us learn how to handle our emotions in grieving times and help us to remember who we are. We experience grief when we are separated from someone that is dear to us, along with other life situations that cause grief. Often when we experience the death or the passing of a loved one, it's sometimes referred to as a loss. Personally, I don't like to use the word loss in that experience because we never really lose anyone that has had meaning in our life. The physical presence is no longer with us, and yet the memory of that love, the memory of the experiences shared together is what lives on. And so I like to refer to it as a separation. Using our spiritual tools allow us to surf through the waters of grief to joy, inviting us to embrace self-care in trying times. And this is where self-care really is important. I offer this visual for grief. It was something that came to me as I was working on this talk. Think of grief, if you will, as a sandwich. The ends of the grief are whatever the experience is, the bookends, if you will. And the filling in the middle is the experience that we are bringing into that particular situation at that moment in time. Our spiritual practices become the condiments that we add to the sandwich to create that bittersweet experience. And it's the bittersweet that helps us navigate through the grief. For me this morning, the ends of my personal grief sandwich are remembering what would have been our 55th wedding anniversary on this past Friday, June the 9th, and the upcoming birthday of my beloved Greer on Tuesday, June the 13th. And even though these two magnificent events were only 4 days apart, Greer demanded that each one be celebrated independently of the other. There was no combining, no getting away with this combining stuff. And so emerging and engaging in my spiritual practices are supporting me to be with the range of emotions, and that range of emotions shows up in different ways each year. There is no repeat pattern. Each year brings something different, sometimes something new to remembering the experience. And so it is the bittersweet of the condiments of the love and the life that we share together that support me through this process. One of my spiritual practices is listening to uplifting music. And our inspirational music this morning was the song As by Stevie Wonder. And it's one of my favorites. Several years ago, I was in Los Angeles for the Agape Revelations Conference. And the Agape Choir, under the direction of Ricky Byers, performed this song. And it has resonated me from that point forward as a love song from God. And so I'm going to read for you an abbreviated version of the lyrics. And I invite you to listen to the poetic melody of the lyrics and imagine that it is a love song from God just for you. As around the sun, the earth knows she's revolving, and the rosebuds know to bloom in early May. Just as hate knows love's the cure, you can rest your mind assured that I'll be loving you always. As now can't reveal the mystery of tomorrow, but in passing will grow older every day. Just as all is born is new, do know that what I say is true. I'll be loving you always. Do you know that true love asks for nothing? Her acceptance is the way we pay. Do you know that life has given love a guarantee to last through forever and another day? Just as time knew to move on since the beginning, as the seasons know exactly when to change, just as loving kindness knows no shame, know that through your joy and pain, I'll be loving you always. Until the day that you are me and I am you, until the rainbow burns the stars out of the sky, until the ocean covers every mountain high, until we dream of life and life becomes a dream, until the dolphin flies and the parrots live at sea, until the day is night and night becomes the day, until the trees and the seas just up and fly away, until the day that 8 times 8 times 8 is 4, until the day that is no more, until the day the earth starts turning right to left, until the earth just for the sun denies itself, until dear Mother Nature says her work is through, until the day that you are me and I am you, I'll be loving you always. Tomorrow, June 12th, is Loving Day. Loving Day marks the day that the U.S. Supreme Court in 1967 unanimously ruled in favor of Mildred and Richard Loving, making states' laws against interracial marriage unconstitutional. And you may ask, what does Loving Day have to do with self-care? And I offer these quotes from people in our past that are bringing them forward for us. Mother Teresa says, if you judge people, you have no time to love them. And I add, no time to love yourself. James Baldwin shares this: love takes off masks that we fear we cannot live without and know we cannot live within. And this from Rumi: your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all of the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And then, as Stevie Wonder says, expressing through spirit, until the day that you are me and I am you, I'll be loving you always. Science of Mind teaches that grief is neither good nor bad. It is an emotion to be attended to if we are to avoid spiritual bypass. And spiritual bypass is just another way of using a spiritual slogan or an affirmation or some tool to suppress and to deny what is actually going on inside. And it is in that denial that we create self-injury and self-harm that reflects itself in our health, in our abilities to do the things that we enjoy doing. And so to avoid spiritual bypass, we recognize that grief is an experience and it may cause different feelings to emerge within us. Those feelings may show up as low self-esteem, regrets, negative thoughts, and confusion, just to mention a few. Grief works like a mirror, reflecting the tender areas of our life to pay attention to. And seeing the reflection of grief is a reminder that we are perfect spiritual beings having a human experience and going through a trying phase of life. As spiritual beings, we can think, create, and implement joy when it seems absent. Grief doesn't make us imperfect. Trying times serve as growth. Grief never goes away because it is part of the human experience, and each one of us is here to have this. Give grief its proper attention and care. There are times when grief may seem dormant. However, it is just stashed away in the recesses of our minds. It is unhealthy to stifle grief. Allow yourself to feel it and to feel its fullness. Every time you feel grief, it is important to give joy space to enter your mind, your body, and your soul. This will keep you in reasonable balance. Ernest Holmes offers this from the Science of Mind textbook. Memory is the storehouse of all conscious thoughts. It is active. Joy comes from the heart. When we learn to be sparks of joy in trying times when grief abounds, recognizing that it may not last long. The source of joy is within. It is always ready to be expressed through each one of us. Joy is that pleasant feeling, while grief is a deeply unpleasant emotion. Coexisting, these two extremes may feel almost impossible. It is imperative to keep our minds healthy with our spiritual practices and other activities that bring us joy. Joy may reveal itself when we recognize the spectrum we are grieving also can be the opportunity to gain or experience something new, something better, and something greater in our lives. Embrace the possibility that we are being propelled to open to our heart's desires, and we are being transformed to do great work that demonstrates what brings joy to ourselves and others. Engage in activities that you enjoy to bring happiness and help balance the grief and the joy. Activities may include walking by the seashore, hiking scenic trails, as we have here in our beautiful Monterey area, dancing, practicing yoga, to mention a few. Yesterday, I engaged in something that was a first for me, and I understand in some conversations that it was a first for our local community, and that was the Monterey Garden Tour. The tour began at a local park not far from the center, Casa del Oro Gardens. And I invite you, if you haven't visited recently, to go and just drop by and see that. And the tour also included 11 residential homes in Monterey, 11 residential gardens. And each of the homeowners was there to talk about their unique experience of creating this garden. And for me, it was an example of the divine showing itself as a creative force in nature. And so I would encourage you to do something that just brings some joy into your life. Whatever it is that brings the sunshine on that cloudy day, so to speak, into your life experience. Engage in that. Navigating the emotions of grief and joy, we remember joy heals the mind and the body. And so as I sum this up, remember, we don't have to do it alone. We don't have to do this alone. We have the power to harness joy and to live a happier life, even during grief and uncertainties. We find refuge in our spiritual practices. We connect more intimately with our spiritual community. And we can also find professional help that will guide us through the challenging time of grief. The key lies in asking, how do I approach it and what do I think about it? Can I see the good? Can I see the good in it, regardless of the situation? Joy happens when we open our hearts to listen, to be with it, to care for it, and to love it. When it may seem impossible to experience heartfelt joy. I invite us now to say together our affirmation. I now release all that no longer serves me. I choose to embrace joy. I invite us now to pray together, recognizing the all-prevailing presence of Spirit, and knowing that the only life there is the life of God, the life of Spirit, the life of this creative intelligence that is expressing itself in and through and as each of us. An individualized expression of our oneness with all that there is. And as the Spirit says softly, know that I am loving you always. I speak my word this morning from that place of love, knowing that it's love that supports and sustains us in all of the activities of our life, knowing that where love abounds, that only joy can be the expression of life. Balancing that with grief and other things that bring us the totality of the life experience, we know that the underlying love of God is absolutely all that there is. And so this morning, I bless those who are experiencing the transition of a loved one, the separation of the physical presence of that individual in our lives, regardless of how that separation occurred. It is an absence. And so as we feel that absence with the love of Spirit, remembering that the emotions that come up are feelings that allow us to remember the goodness of God in every life experience. I bless those who have walked the path and are now the shoulders and the arms to lift those who are going through this journey right now, however it may show up. Remembering that all is love and that all is God. I bless places where individuals are gathering together in the name of love, in the name of the one, recognizing that there are points when our paths may be parallel and there are points where our paths may intersect. And may both those points, the parallel and the intersections, be the place where joy shows forth. That we remember we are one with Spirit. That there is gratitude all around us, gratitude above us, gratitude below us, gratitude beside us. That there is only gratitude that is a part of our life experience. And so for this and so much more, I am eternally grateful. Releasing this word back into that law, which always says yes, I just allow it to be so. And if any of what I have said resonates with you in any way, let us affirm this together by saying, and so it is. And so it is. And I invite us to say together our affirmation of abundance as we prepare our hearts and our minds for conscious giving and for gracious giving. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the uninterrupted flow of abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And so for those who are here in our center this morning, we have a donation box on the hospitality table in the center. Thank you for your contributions. You may also support the center by mailing in your donations, and our address is on the screen. You can text to give, and that number is on the screen. And you may also donate online through our website, www.montereycsl.org. Again, thank you for your contributions and the way you support the center. I want to take a moment now to express deep gratitude to Alex Castanos, who is not with us this morning. And my computer just died, so I'm going to be winging it. It gave me an alert that the battery was low, and did I pay attention to it? No. So deep gratitude to Alex for the gardening work that she did this past week in our entryway, in the upper area, if you will. And also, after service, if you haven't already noticed, take a walk down Franklin Street and across Pacific and just look at how the love through your contributions has shown up in a gardener that did beautiful work for us in clearing out our space. Now we look like we have a home rather than we're living homeless. So thank you for your generosity that allows us to do things to maintain our spiritual community, in addition to providing programs and services. I invite those who are joining us on YouTube and on Facebook to like and share, and to join us next week as we continue our June theme, Embracing Self-Care, and our topic will be pleasure. So we invite you for that, and we say thank you and good morning to our virtual community at Facebook and YouTube.